Righto, g'day listeners. Welcome to another Barkarati special, the sailing podcast looking at the Sydney Hobart. Obviously, it's a big deal. We're one day in, so this is the day one update. I'll bring in my good buddy, Mr. Nick Bryce.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Brycey.
Top of the day to you, my man. Top of the day. You've been keeping an eye on the race?
I have been keeping an eye on the race. I've got no social life. My wife's away. You're away. I've got nothing to do.
Just by myself, sitting there drinking by myself.
You know my special rum drink I make.
Oh, dude, it is good. Listeners, it is good. If you ever get the chance to sit down with Jordan Spencer and enjoy his special rum drink, do it. Do it.
I took the ingredients down on Christmas Day, and my kid brother, who'd never been exposed, was exposed, and I left him in a complete mess.
There goes his career.
Oh dear, it was funny to watch. All right, let's talk sailing, mate. Let's talk sailing. What's been going on? Where are we now? Where Sydney Hobart has been underway for effectively almost 24 hours. Yeah, we're just doing that. We would have gone earlier, but I must admit I fell asleep. So,
and I took the kids full driving. I'm guessing that's probably going to be the last time that happens.
Oh, really? I thought the kids were into it.
No, they enjoyed it, but I probably went down a few tracks that weren't as well known to be. Probably a bit longer, but so it's going to be a bit of a journey that I'll need to sell a little harder next time.
Yeah,
but, good fun.
Yeah, good on you, man. Good on you for getting out there. All right, so where do we at the moment? Have you got the standings up in front of you, buddy? Let's go line on us right now.
I do, and I've got to tell you, she was no fool driving out there. No. She was flat water sailing, beautiful. I mean, after the start, it looked pretty good, but just looking at the fleet now, there's a clear winner and clear loser throughout the night, and we've got Scallywag, who's currently leading the fleet.
Yep, Scallywag.
Scallywag currently leading, and I mean that's just based on distance to go.
That's correct.
You got Comanche, which is set out to the east of them.
Yep.
You got Blackjack, Infotrack. So Blackjack, Infotrack, Scallywag are all pretty grouped, and then you have a loser of the night, which was Wild Oats.
Yep. She definitely got parked up. I'll explain what happened with that in a minute. But what about if we look across at the handicaps, buddy? Have you been looking at that one?
Yeah, been keeping a bit of an eye on those guys, and I must say, it's still up for. Well, there's no clear leader there. You've got IRC 0, who's leading that is URM or BYO as we call them.
Yeah.
But they're currently sitting about 50th on IRC overall.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a bit bunched, but it's the TPs that are at the front. So Quest currently, Ichiban, Stay Calm Hungary. Got the professional Hungarian triathlete staying at my place at the moment, and she was pretty excited to see that. She had no idea they even went sailing, so that was cool.
Fair enough. Yeah.
On the news front though, bud, if we go down. Where is it? I've got to find it now. It changes so quick. Your wild tip, your dark horse tip, Enchantress. While you're out on the four-wheel drive track, was sitting second overall for a while there.
Yeah, currently leading IRC 7.
Yeah. So Enchantress. And I saw Abbott's Vamp punch to the front for a few short seconds, and then last time I checked, they were sitting in 17th and 18th, right next to each other.
There you go.
And now it's the other way around. It's 16th and 17th. So mine's in front of yours right now. So,
so you're winning the beers at the minute.
That's it. All right.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been interesting.
Maybe it's worth a mention. The Cat Wincher, the 115-year-old bloke that BP gave a lot of praise to earlier on.
Yes.
They are doing very well as well in IC 5 and the Grand Veterans as well. So they're sitting up there nicely.
And for a while there, mate, Enchantress was second to her on the overall. So
yeah.
Well, let's explain how everything happened, just so we can actually sort of go into a bit more detail. So if we break it down, so first question is who won the start and why? Let's look at the big boats first. In your mind, any standout winners on the start?
Yeah, definitely. And at 10-1 to get out the heads first, Info Track, they've nailed it. And that's actually the third time they've been first out the heads.
Yeah.
So there is a slight common theme there. And I'm going to say, well, Comanche was the clear loser off the start line for the first out of the heads bragging rights.
Yep.
But with Blackjack, Scallywag, and Wild Oats kind of mixed up, I think Info Track just stepped out, and maybe that was their theory, just get away cleanly, which they did. And as Tony mentioned when he spoke to us, they've got the boat set up now to manoeuvre quite nicely, so they slipped out beautifully.
They did indeed.
Good play to them.
They did indeed. So obviously Nico calling tactics on that. That was a beautiful, well sailed tactically. That leg, it was almost a perfect execution. Just watching it, and they said they were the low budget campaign. So as soon as they put the kites up, you could see they didn't go the 3 head sail setup because they've got the old kite up. So obviously they're going to have to work with a little bit less gear than some of the other boats. But good luck to them. Well sailed. They deserved. They definitely were the best. To me, Oates looked like they had their rig balance wrong. They looked like they were trying to hold on to too big a jib there for a while and carry that reef in. I'm not sure what their thinking was there. Maybe to accelerate on the turn down as they started to go downwind.
I mean, a reef is easy on those boats to pull in and out.
Yeah.
So maybe that was it, and they just wanted to, and it's going to help with all the runners and stuff as well.
Yeah.
If there is that kind of close quarters tacking.
Yeah.
But you're right, they didn't look exactly well balanced. But there was another one who looked pretty good off the line, which was the Scallywag, but they kind of cocked it up, I reckon.
Yeah, I was just
on the street.
Yep, exactly what I was thinking too. They made a pretty dumb tack there at one stage, but they came out still. They came out pretty well. Like they were right next to the Oates, and they just charged off the line. So obviously, the wider boats, the powered up boats that can handle the extra power, were doing well. So that was good to see. On the other boats that sort of came out, the smaller boats looked to do pretty well. The TPs again were looking pretty glamorous. So Ichi was the first from Guilo, and then Zen were the first of those 3 around the corner.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there.
I think it helped those guys this year because they had a clear start line with the big boats and the 50-footers, or call it the TPs, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah.
So they weren't contending with all the other boats because they had those 4 start lines, which I think from the outset looked good. But of course, she's only ever get the big boats on the footage. So
yeah, it was hard to see anything else, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about what we tried to do to help out with CYC this year, but it's not the format. And we do have a lot of time for those blokes, so I'll move on. That's just me being silly there. So let's forget that one. Forget I said anything.
Why change it now?
And then, so I guess once we saw the coverage start, the boats just charged down. I've got to say, watching Comanche come out and around the edge and just, did she look good. How much fun. How much did you want to be on that boat right then?
Yeah, there's actually one photo, Andrea Francolini, I think, like that, just looking astern, and just Comanche bow out the water, launched.
It's so cool.
Such a cool boat.
Yeah.
Such a cool boat. No wonder those guys love sailing that thing.
Yeah, she just looks so much fun.
Yeah.
And then like Langford said, she's like sailing a dinghy, it's easy to sail, and I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Totally jealous.
Well, we all love Guillaume Verdier, so we love the work that he's put in there, and he was kind of given a free kind of just a blank piece of paper, and that's what he came up with, and launched in 2014 or 15, and it's dominating still. It's going to be hard to ever come across something better than that.
He is the man, isn't he? We got to get him on the podcast. For those who've never met him, they got to know what a cool guy he is. Like everyone's just got to understand he is just the most genuine cool guy you could ever meet. We'll get him on. We're just sort of saving it for a little bit. It's like keeping the special ones for a little bit longer. Not that anyone
saying that he's hanging out with the Kiwis, so we could better get him quick before before they really infiltrate his mind, and he'll start ratting on us Aussies, just swearing like a sailor.
Bloody Kiwis! Oh dear. All right, well that's cool. So with that, once we got past watching that, then obviously they charged down the coast to about 6 or 7 hours, and the first Comanche hit that ridge and went straight into that light wind, sort of light southerly. She was furthest east and Oates was closest to the shore. They had about a good 5 hours of sort of flapping around, I think, where the wind was sort of flapping around in lots of different directions. And then it tried to have a little bit of a swing around 12 hours into the northeast. The easterly boat started moving and Oates didn't. They sort of just, that's... The furthest east boat punched forward a little bit just when that nor'easter tried to fill in. Then it went back southeast again. And there was like a real sort of tightrope to get through that ridge. And then it ended up, Oates got sucked back into the fleet. She obviously just wasn't moving. And then what it looks like from about after that 12 hours, sort of around the first thing dawn, the boats that weren't too far east, but had moved forward. So, like your scallywags and your blackjacks, they started to get this southeast easterly come in, and it seems to be more pressure slightly closer to shore, and so they started moving forward on Comanche. It's still sort of clocking around and it should start to freshen. But yeah, that's how I think that we've got that sort of move through. So if you look at the distances east, the ones that are around that sort of 45 to 55 nautical miles out of southeast of Gaybo Island are the ones that are sort of starting to move forward, whereas Comanche's a little bit wider, starting to get the wind now. Wild Oats has got the wind now. They've come past URM. So, yeah, that was the thing. So, Oates being too close to shore got stuck. The boats out to sea didn't. And then it's sort of then the middle one sort of came through, and that's how they've been moving. And on the overalls, on the rating, what it looked like on that timing was it was quite funny when I looked late last night. The boats with the lowest ratings, or first thing this morning actually, the boats with the lowest ratings. So whoever's had the lowest ratings was the boats that were at the top of the handicap. Yeah. So
they obviously compressed down there. And looking at it now, I mean, it's getting fresher coming in from the northeast for those guys. So they're starting to put the hammer down now.
Yep.
And I mean, Comanche is probably in the right position from a shift point of view.
There we go.
And then it's going to get super interesting down off Tasmania tomorrow morning.
Okay, let's go into that. Let's talk about that weather. So go on, just explain what you've seen.
So what I'm seeing is it's moving from the east into the north, and it's going to be quite fresh. So they'll probably be jibing from about the middle of Bass Strait all the way down the Tassie coast.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're seeing that basically that whole pressure system move to the east.
Yep.
And this big light patch going to start developing off the eastern side of Tasmania. Pretty much from early tomorrow morning.
Yep.
So the big boats, I'd imagine they'll be finishing kind of tomorrow afternoon. So the trick will be if they stay well east of Tasmania and try and sneak around before that light patch develops.
Yep.
But it's going to be pretty tricky for the rest of them. So that could quite easy, if they get around, it could quite easily turn it into a big boat race.
Exactly.
Because the others will stop.
Exactly. It looks really tricky. Even going into Bass Strait now as we speak, there's a big hole just further to the west, and it's going to move across. But most of these big boats, it should be sort of starting to disappear right about now. But you're exactly right. There's going to be that big hole really starts to form up from dawn tomorrow. And, you're getting around that is going to be very, very tricky. And then exactly as you say, if you come around it, you're going to pick up a southerly back straight up the Derwent. So how you do it, it's going to be tough. It's Navigator's race for sure. So far, though, like it could have almost been the perfect race. You have a lovely downwinder yesterday, have a bit of a snooze.
Time for some bacon and eggs this morning.
Yeah, bit of a snooze through the evening, and then full on again.
Beautiful,
It's
beautiful.
like a dream.
It'll be pretty nice what they would call champagne sailing across Bass Strait right now.
Yeah.
Starting to put the hammer down.
Yep. Look, I mean, it's going to be fantastic. So you reckon the boat that's going to benefit most will be Comanche, is what you're saying?
Yeah, especially if we get in 20 to 25.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they did yesterday afternoon and storm away from the fleet. The minute it goes VMG, though, that's where we could see the narrower boats step into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still even a bit hard to tell what Scallywag's going to do in that, because it wasn't exactly a VMG race last night until they hit the light spots, and it was where you were placed.
Yep. So, Scallywag sort of their info track. They're well positioned at the moment in terms of where they can be. If you're picking up that noise, Bicey's just sort of dropped out, so hopefully he'll come back in. And then we've got all that excitement, and then the TPs. They'll have to sort of work that around. The only other thing, I guess, is retirements. We've had a few. Oh, you're back, Bicey. I was just feeling.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I noticed you drop out. You're in remote Victoria where they haven't had internet yet. So Scully could come out. It may be info. They're well placed at the moment, obviously with a little bit of a jump on the Oats. They've got a good 30 miles. But as you say, it sounds like the tension will be, we're going to have this great spectacle, and then we're going to have tension again as they come into the finish. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, going to be good to keep an eye on that and exactly what that light spot's going to do, whether who gets around that, or it's going to be a complete park up again.
Yep. Retirements, Faster Forward went in with steering problems, and Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, God, she's in the wars, that bloody boat, isn't it?
That boat, yeah, I tell you. Broken rudder, so maybe BP, when he did the qualifier for him.
He was hanging off the broken rudder, the rudder, trying to serve his hors d'oeuvres at sea.
It's exactly what I reckon. He's dropped an hors d'oeuvre down into the bearings. Bloody BP, it's his fault.
BP and his horse duvers.
All right. Okay, so we'll go probably a little bit earlier tomorrow, but we'll do another update for you tomorrow. There'll be plenty to talk about, I would suggest. Anything else you got, bud?
Nah, I'm just keeping a close eye on this and ready for them to put the foot down to see if they're going to run into a brick wall or do a nice handbrake turn around the bottom of it.
Yeah, beautiful. Looking forward. Good fun. All right, mate. I'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, mate. See you tomorrow.
See you, bud.